This build is centered around Hotstreak. It is the Mage talent you maybe or maybe not know from retail. And in Ascension, we have a special legendary RE called Hot Hands. And Hot Hands make it so our Pyroblast can trigger from our own Hotstreak. And Hot Hand makes it so Pyroblast can trigger from Hotstreak itself. And as you can see in the clip here, with 100% crit chance, your Hotstreak can trigger from the Hotstreak. This is for sure a buff they made for this underused skill in Season 9, so it were on par with other builds. And if you don't even need to question it, this is of course intended design. And Zen, if you see this, we don't have to take it further down the line or anything, right? You can play this and we can play this and it can just stay this way. And of course this is intended because why wouldn't it be? Because then it would have been discovered for a long time ago. So this build has 100% mobility if you have 103% crit chance, and you can just be spamming Pyroblast. If you don't have, as you can see, we can just cast the Scorched Earth sometimes. I don't know, this is for sure intended, but yeah, let's get into the build if you for some reason are not critting and what the rotation would look like. Alright, and for opener to get the fireball rolling, we are fishing for 2 Scorches in a row to get the Hotstreak proc, and then we are going for the Pyroblast. Sometimes you will need to fish for this if you're not 100% capped on your Scorch, but you can easier be crit capped for your Pyroblast because you can stack a crit on your Pyroblast specifically. So the caveat of this build is that it has 100% free mobility, and that is because Scorch can be cast while moving, and Hotstreak makes your Pyroblast be able to cast instant speed. And the downside to this free mobility is that the build is somewhat single target capped compared to other builds. As you can see here, we're doing around 8 to 10k DPS. Besides that, there's not much else to get for the build, so we are kind of limited on how far we can take this build compared to other builds. The free mobility can definitely counterbalance this for the bosses with high mobility, where we do not lose any single target damage. Alright, I know the rotation can be quite complicated and hard to digest. It was a lot, I know, but let's move on to what I carded. For, I guess just for the memes, I carded this. I would probably not card it again, but more on that what I carded. If you want to copy this, I carded Nemesis and Demonic Recurrence. With those 2 and 1 Nemesis enchant, I'm able to have fully uptime on Metamorph. It looks pretty cool and it gives you 15% damage, and you can even use it with a stance. For other talents and for what to card, I would always card Empowered Fire and Ignite. Ignite is by far the best talent for any fire builds, changed my mind, and Empowered Fire is just such a good scaling for Pyroblast since it's our main focus, and combined with Ignite, it's help us with our mana. We are spamming infinite Pyroblast, so we are kind of mana hungry, even though Pyroblast has 50% mana reduction. So to help us with the mana, try to look for Elemental Focus or Master of the Elements to regain some of the mana, so we don't have to live tap and stuff like that. It is free and we even need the crit from them. And when you have Elemental Focus, also keep a lookout for the Elemental Fury Capstone. For other talents, we are trying to look out for and pick up all of the int nodes and all of the intellect gained as spell power nodes. There are 2 and you can combine them with the intellect enchant Lunar Guidance. This intellect stacking would both give you a lot of spell power, but it would also give us crit chance, and that is our best stat. For all of the crit talents, we're looking for improved Scorch, since we're weaving in Scorch sometimes. We're looking for World in Flames, since specifically Pyroblast crit are better to be crit kept. Master Conjurer to buff Firestone. Critical Mass, one of the better crit talents we can pick because we're using fire spells. And then any other talent that gives you spell crit, very good for the build, and you need to be 103% crit kept. And for our abilities, I'm not recommending Metamorphosis, since it's very important to be crit capped. You can pick Metamorphosis if you have it, and if you want to try copy what I did, but I would not suggest it. It's way better to pick all of the abilities that increase our crit chance. Molten Armour for the instacking. Demonic Mind, the best crit increase stance. If you down the line get crit capped and you don't need that much crit from abilities, you can change Demonic Mind with something like Molten Mind instead and get more crit damage. Create Firestone, one of the better weapon enhance. Focal Point Focus Magic. I'm not a big fan of these because it's random. If for some reason the target is not critting, it can be inconsistent. If you're reliant on this to be crit capped, these are very fine. Totem of Wrath, 3% crit on the target. Then we have 2 legendary packages to look for. The first one is the Paralysis Burst of Flames, meaning Pyroblast refresh the corruption, and Burst of Flames will increase our Pyroblast damage from dealing damage with corruption. And to benefit these two, we're using, or try to roll for it at least, all of the free corruptions to trigger these effects. And since we're refreshing the corruptions, you can try to do a bit of a snapshot with arcane power, stuff like that. Also, haste increases will make them tick faster. And for the other one, I haven't tested this, but you can be looking out for the Holy Fire and the legendary for it, Righteous Radiance. I have not tested this. I've seen many fire builds use this. I think you also need the inner fire for this, so keep a lookout for these three combinations. Alright, what to card for the build? Start abilities. I would say you always take Summon Imp, it has the better talents. The other option could both be the Dragon or the Tethered Elemental. Both of the talent those unlock are also mighty fine. Then we are picking Arcane Intellect, is the best buff we can pick for the build. Then we are picking Corruption, that is only because of the paralysis to benefit from it and the chance of rerolling it. And for the last ability, you can be picking anything, but I choose Fireball, since we are looking for and keeping fire increases, so we're benefiting from Ignite and stuff like that, so Fireball was the most fitting. For the best stuff to card for abilities, the abilities I mentioned earlier, Firestone, Demonic Mind, Molten Armour and Scorched Earth. With these 4 abilities you will be needing to roll Pyroblast, but from my testing it seems like common abilities are easier to roll in this season. So for what I carded Metamorphosis. It was only to look cool, but I would not recommend it. We really need to get this build to 100% crit cap, so we really can't afford a slot for Metamorphosis. And the last option, if you are on a budget or you don't want to take a risk when you roll the build, you can be picking Pyroblast and even the normal Scorch, and then the 2 strongest crit talents, Demonic Mind and Molten Armour for the scaling. That is the best safe option to prestige for. As for what talents to card, we are always carding Hot Hands and Hot Streak. These are need to card, these are the bread and butter of the build. I was not able to find Hot Hands in the Discord. I've linked it below if someone is able to find it, but else you have to open it. Sometimes you can be lucky and the legendaries are found. And for the other 2 mandatory talents, we are, as mentioned, basically always carding Ignite and Empowered Fire. They are just too strong. For the last 2 slots, you can either pick the Metamorphosis package. This if you just want the fun aspects, and I guess just use this because it's now an option to have infinite Metaform as a DPS in Season 9. But the stronger option is to just go for crit. Any talent works, but some of the stronger options I have listed on this screen. Alright, so for talent, gear and REs, what am I using? For my random enchants, I'm using Lunar Guidance for when I get more intellect. I'm using 3 different crit talents just to be crit capped on Pyroblast. For the last one, I'm just using Spell Impact right now. This is the least impactful because could also be using like any other damage increase or just Draconic Pyroblast. Draconic Pyroblast would be best if you are not crit capped. And I don't like it because it doesn't have full uptime, so you would have time where you're not crit capped, so it's not ideal. The last talent would be Nemesis. This is so you have 100% uptime on Metamorph. You could be using 2 if you want more smoother transition between the Metamorphos, but it doesn't really matter that much. For my talents, as I said, I picked a kind of risky route. I was lucky to get the Pyroblast, and I was also very lucky to get the Combustion. This is a very nice combination if you can pick up the Playing with Fire, so you reduce the cooldown. I was also lucky to pick up the Holy Fire if I get the other component, and together I think you need the Inner Fire, I'm actually not sure. And I got a Blink, very nice mobility, and since we're running the Nemesis, we're also reducing the cooldown of Demonic Leap, so if I was able to pick up the Demonic Leap, it would be such an insane mobility. For my talents, I have actually been kinda unlucky. I haven't picked up that many of the better crit talents, still looking out for them. Other notable talents to be looking out for are the just increased magic damage done, any of the fire damage. I got the firepower and the Ember Storm, very lucky pickup. The Demonic Pact, very nice. You still need a way to get mana for your imp. You could do that for the Metamorph RE, so keep a lookout for that one or another way. Also been somewhat lucky picking up the Mind Mastery and the Lunar Guidance. Really want the last talent, but for now it's fine. We're also picking up all of the proc talents, Deathbringer, Spellslinger, especially since we're running the Elemental Focus and the Arcane Concentration. You also want to be picking up the crit talents, Ruin, Elemental Fury, and I think the last one, Burnout in Mage, are some of the better ones, and you can even stack them. I've also been very lucky in picking up the Paralysis. I only have the corruption, but I will be looking out for the other ones. Some other nice ways to get crit if you have the distance from the boss is Destructive Reach, that is 4% crit, and you would kinda always look out for the increased yards. I think it's so nice, even in raids and probably also in PvP. Some other combo I've been looking out for is the Soul Streak. So Soulfire can now trigger Hot Streak. This was actually the initial reason why I tried this build, so if I ever roll Soulfire, I will try to make this work. Last thing you can be looking out for, and probably the way you really min-max the build, is probably to incorporate Conflag and Immolate in the build. There are ways with the infinite burn where you use Scorch to actually don't make your Conflag consume, but you would also need to cast a Chaos Bolt in order to your Immolate not to go away, so you would have to work on that if you want to incorporate that. I don't know, I think the main focus of this build should just be playing out Pyroblasts. Alright, for my gear we are only rocking 1400 unbuffed spell power. This is a lot lower than my Wild Imp. My Wild Imp unbuffed is 2000. Very good gear and very good talents. Only 500 intellect. We are right now missing leg enchant and wrist enchant, so very suboptimal, but the Arcane is set to buff the intellect scaling. My other pieces, random crit pieces, we really want to be looking out for those crit increase, just to be able to be crit capped and at least be close to crit capped, so we're not missing any of the hot streak procs, so the build will feel more smooth, and you can even do a cast sequence. Alright, and the last little tip before going into the giveaway is the Pyroblast macro. It's using /stop casting. I will link this and the other one in the description. This simply just, when you have the hot streak proc, it will stop casting Scorch, and you will just instantly cast your Pyroblast. And the other one for Scorch is just weaving in Metamorph. Metamorph is not on a global cooldown, so you can just weave it into your Scorch to have 100% uptime. And again, link in the description. Alright, for the giveaway, and this is gonna be the big giveaway and the last giveaway for a while again. Gonna do another giveaway in the future, of course, but for now, this giveaways, and you only have to put down a comment, say something, you can say whatever, just I'm happy that you are here. And for the end of the video, this giveaway is a Metamorphosis of Fel. There was no in-game model in the vanity shop, so I found a screenshot. It should be this one, the Metamorph from Retail's Vengeance Tank Demon Hunter. So, and it should work for both Metamorph and for the Tank Dark Apophysis, something, me and English words. So it should be this one for the giveaway. So comment in the description. And if you don't want to miss the giveaway, yeah, well, then you can subscribe to see my next video. My next video is gonna be tomorrow, and I'm not proud of the title, but you will have to either subscribe or wait for see what that video is. But let's get into the conclusion. Alright, so the conclusion of this build, I'm gonna make it short. This was so fun to make, like discovering this clever use of game mechanics and having infinite mobility, either if you look at it as the Scorch Pyro rotation or just the Pyro. Either way, this is never gonna be as it is right now. It's never gonna be a top tier single target DPS build, but I really like to have in my arrangement of different builds I have access to when I'm raiding or doing any content, and see, okay, what build do I have that can do the most mobility? If you are in a raid team and you are either getting tasked to do a high mobility task, there are not many of them in Ascension, what I'm aware of, but maybe in the future, custom mechanics coming to Black Temple, it's very nice to just have it in your a toolbox to say, oh well, we have this mechanic or we have this boss, I cannot do that much damage, we have high mobility, I need a high mobility spec to just do not the best single target damage, but I know what damage I can dish out, even though I have to be fully running all the time. And this build would be that build, because either way how you put it, with the stuff we have now in Season 9 and so many access to crit talents, we can easily, and we are not, when this video, if you watch this, Blackwing Lair is not out yet, we will have it soon, so and we can still be so easily, and we have what, Mythic plus 20, and we can easily be crit capped if we just hit the right talents and min-max the build. And I think it's fair, this should never have the high single target. It's like BM hunters in retail. Highest mobility should never be rewarded with also the biggest single target damage. So I think that is totally fair, even though BM hunters in retail, another discussion. And with that, before ending the video, I'm just for doing this giveaway, is not for the giveaway, it's just to say thanks for the support. We hit, I still can't believe it, 1,000 subscribers in 2.5 months. Thank you so much for the support. I still really enjoy making the video. I just had a week, I was so busy. I have to start a study. I did for 1 month ago, so will be a bit more busy. So I'm good. I like doing the videos, and I want to send out good quality so you can enjoy and just play Ascension, having fun. I still enjoy the season. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.